Hello everyone, this is Professor Pawan Shwankar and I welcome you in a 39th lecture of Control System Engineering. And in today's lecture, we will again discuss one more numerical on root locus. So numerical is sketch the root locus for g of s into h of s equal to k s plus 4 by s square plus 6s plus 30. So for this numerical, let us first calculate the number of poles as well as number of zeros. So poles are look at here, single s, then quadratic equation, that means 1 and 2 3. So number of poles are 3 and the values are here s equal to 0, so 0, and the roots of this quadratic equation s square plus 6s plus 13. So you will get roots as minus 3 plus minus 2i. Okay, so minus 3 plus 2i and minus 3 minus 2i. These are the pole, as well as a 0 are present here. So z is 1, 0 is present here, and the value is s plus 4 equal to 0, that is s equal to minus 4. So number of branches of root locus is a bigger number among these two, p and z. So number of branches will be 3. So see here, 3 branches of root locus will start from the poles because p is equal to 3 and 1 0 is present. So 3 branches of root locus will start, out of which one branch will end and remaining 2 branch will approach to infinity. Okay, so hence number of branch approach to infinity, and that is p minus z equal to 3 minus 1 2. So 2 branches will approach to infinity. Next part is of root locus region. So for root locus region, consider this as a S-plane. Plot all the poles at 0. So first pole is at a 0. Second is minus 3 plus 2i. Suppose 1, 2, 3. So minus 3 and suppose 1, 2. So here you will get your complex pole as minus 3 plus 2i, and just below the same point like here minus 3 minus 2i. So these are the poles 1, 2 and 3. Then 1 0 is present here as minus 4. 0 is marked by circle, so and minus 4. Now the regions will be infinity to 0, 0 to minus 4 and minus 4 to minus infinity. These will be the regions. Now check for the root locus region. So in first region between infinity to 0, there are no pole and 0 present in this region. So this is completely non-root locus region. Non-root locus region from infinity to 0. Then from 0 to minus 4, from 0 to minus 4 in between, if you check right hand side of any point, like suppose this or this, so on right hand side of this point, if you count number of pole and 0, we'll get one pole. One is odd figure, so this is a root locus region from 0 to minus 4, and from minus 4 to minus infinity, again it is a non root locus region because on right hand side of any point between -4 to -infinity, number of pole and 0 are 1 and 2. 2 is even figure, that's why -4 to -infinity is a non-root locus region. So this is all about the root locus region. Next part is asymptotes. So angle of asymptote. Where theta is twice q plus 1 into 180 divided by p minus z, and value of q equal to p minus z minus 1. So p minus z is 3 minus 1, that is a 2, 2 minus 1, 1. So value of q is 1. So start from 0 and 1. Okay, q is p minus z minus 1. So 3 minus 1 minus 1 equal to 1. So if q is 1, so start from 0, q is 0 and 1. If you got two values of for q, you will get only two angle, theta 1 and theta 2. Now put a value 0 in this equation. So 2 into 0, 0 plus 1, okay, 1, 1 into 180, 180 divided by p minus z, that is 3 minus 1, 2. So 180 by 2 is 90 degree. If you put q is equal to 1, so 2 plus 1, 3, 3 into 180 divided by 2, 3 into 180 by 2 will get 270 degree. Just calculate it on a calci. Okay, so 90 and 270 are the only two asymptotes available here. Now the next step is location of asymptote, that is a centroid, and the formula for centroid is summation of real part of pole minus summation of real part of 0 divided by p minus z. So sigma will be summation of real part of pole is, the poles are 0, minus 3 plus 2i and minus 3 minus 2i. So real part is 0, then minus 3 and minus 3, and summation of real part of 0 is minus 4. So let us sum up all. So summation of real part of pole is 0 plus minus 3 plus minus 3 minus summation of real part of 0 minus 4. Divided by p minus z, that is 3 minus 1, that is a 2. So here you will get minus 3 minus 3 minus 6, minus 6 plus 4, so minus 2, minus 2 by 2 is minus 1. Yes, so we got centroid as minus 1. So suppose if we check here, sigma is minus 1, that is a centroid, location of asymptote, and the asymptote angles are 90 and 270. So one angle will be like exactly vertical, theta 1 is 90 degree, and second angle is like theta 2 270 degree. Okay, got it. So only two asymptotes and the angles are 90 to 70, and the location of asymptote is minus 1. Next part is break away point. Now look at the figure. Again we need to predict whether the breakaway point is possible here. Is it necessary to calculate breakaway point or not? So look here, first pole, then second pole, third pole, and one more 0. So, and you can see the root locus region. So this is a pole. Root locus always start from pole. So when root locus is will start from this pole at origin, so it will travel along the axis in this direction, because on opposite direction there is a non-root locus region. So it will start in this direction, and here it is a 0, so your root locus will end here. Okay, because root locus always start from pole and end on 0, and on x-axis you can see, so pole, then root locus is starting from that pole and will end on this 0. Then two more pole which are of complex nature are present, and as well as two asymptotes. So these two poles will start with the root locus and will follow these asymptote. So root locus will start from this point, and one root locus will follow asymptote of 90. Second root locus will start from this pole and follow second asymptote, that is a 270, like this. That means no breakaway point exists, as well as there is no necessity to calculate intersection with imaginary axis, because your asymptotes are vertically upward and downward exactly. As your asymptotes are not intersecting your imaginary axis, this is your imaginary axis. So if these asymptotes are not intersecting the imaginary axis, that means your root locus, which is starting from complex pole, again will not intersect your imaginary axis. So no need to calculate intersection with imaginary axis. Okay, so no need to calculate breakaway point as well as intersection point. Now the no breakaway point as well as intersection with imaginary axis. So both rules are not applicable here. But instead, if you can't get that whether it is necessary to calculate or not, you can just go with the procedure. At last you will find some invalid values which are not applicable here. That's why again it will be clear that both rules are not applicable for the same numerical. After this, as you have complex pole or complex 0, you need to calculate angle of departure. So for calculating angle of departure, that is phi d. Okay, so phi d has a formula. Phi d is 180 minus phi. This is the angle of departure. Okay, where phi is summation of angle made by pole minus summation of angle made by 0. Okay, so these two formula you need to learn while calculating angle of departure or angle of arrival. Angle of arrival, here it is not required to calculate angle of arrival whenever you have complex 0. Okay, your pole is in your zeros are in a space, so you need to calculate angle of arrival, which is given as phi a 180 plus phi. Only the difference is of the sign between phi d and phi a, but this is not necessary here. So let us calculate phi d for given numerical. For the same, we need to draw S-plane again. Poles are at 0, then minus 3 plus 2i and minus 3 minus 2i, then 1 0 is here at minus 4. Okay, now first step to calculate angle of departure is to fix the point where you need to calculate complex angle of departure. Suppose we have decided to calculate angle of departure at this point. at this pole. So from that pole, connect all the remaining poles and zeros by straight line, like this. Again this one and this one. Okay, the note down one thing, this is your 0, this is your pole, and this is also your pole, and we need to calculate angle made by pole as well as angle made by 0. So we have fixed this pole and where we need to calculate angle of departure. Then we connect all the remaining poles and zeros with this point by straight line. Where you got the connection, draw straight line like this and count the complete angle, this angle. So this is a pole, so we can write this angle made by pole 1, because another pole we have. This is we term as phi p2 because angle made by pole again, so second angle, and this is our 0, so this is angle made by 0, phi z1. Okay, now let us calculate all the angles. We know that this angle is 90. Okay, remaining this angle. For that angle, construct this triangle, and only this angle, suppose theta is opposite by adjacent. Opposite is, this side is 3 and this side is 2. So phi p1 is equal to, this angle is 90 plus, and remain angle is tan inverse, opposite is 3 by 2. So phi p1, you will get tan inverse 3 by 2, tan inverse 3, 56.30, 90 plus 56.30. So complete angle phi p1 is 0.30 as it is 6 as it is, and 9 plus 5, 146.30 degree. Okay, now the phi p2 no need to calculate, we know that phi p2 is 90 degree. Now phi z1 equal to this angle we need to calculate. So suppose phi z1 is tan inverse opposite by adjacent. Opposite is this one, adjacent is this one. Opposite is on in imaginary axis, we are at the 2 point, and on x-axis, suppose this is a 3 and this is a 4, so 1. So simply tan inverse of 2, this is a 2 point, 2 by 1. .43 it is 63.43 degree. Okay, now phi is summation of angle made by pole minus summation of angle made by 0. So summation of angle made by pole is 146.30 plus 90 minus summation of angle made by 0 is 63.43. So finally phi will be 146.30 plus 90 minus 63.43, you will get 172.87. 172.87 degree. Okay, this is a phi, and hence phi d is what? 180 minus phi. So 180 minus 172.87 is minus 180. We'll get 7.13, and positive 180 minus 172.87 is 7.13 degree. So this is our phi d. This is a phi d. So let us draw the root locus now. This is our S-plane. Imaginary axis. Suppose this is a real axis. Okay, then the poles are at 0. Then suppose 1, 2, 3 and 4. Here our 0 is present. Then at minus 3 plus 2i, suppose 1, 2, minus 3 plus 2i, and here minus 1 minus 2, minus 3 plus minus 2i, another pole. Then the centroid is at sigma is equal to minus 1. No breakaway point, no intersection point. Then asymptotes are at, first asymptote is at 90. So theta 1 is 90 degree. Secondly, second asymptote is at 270. Okay, region is starting from infinity and ends on minus infinity. Now actual root locus part. Now one more thing, phi d, angle of departure, we got the value as 7 point something, positive value. So plus value is, we are calculating angle in anti-clockwise direction if angle is positive, suppose 7 degrees like this. Okay, I'm writing here phi d is 7.13 degree, as well as here suppose upper angle is positive, so here you will get negative angle like this, and phi d is 7.13 degree. Okay, now we'll draw root locus, actual root locus. I have selected already now. So first pole is here, root locus is starting from this pole. On another side there is a non-root locus region, so root locus obviously start and moving in this direction, and it will keep going and will end on this 0, because root locus always start from pole and end on 0. So don't show the arrow at the end point of root locus, because this root locus will end on this 0. Okay, so at middle you can show arrow, but at end point don't show the arrow. It means that root locus is starting from this point and end on this 0. Now second pole is here, so root locus is starting at the angle of departure, that is a 7.13. so angle root locus is starting in this direction, and there is no intersection with the imaginary axis, so it will go along the asymptote. So from this angle it will turn and will go to the infinity in this direction. On another hand, from this pole root locus will start at angle 7.13 and will follow this asymptote and go to infinity. So To show that root locus is going to infinity, show the arrow at the end. And for this root locus is ending on this point, that is 0. That's why you can show number of arrows on this line but don't show the arrow at the end. So this is a complete solution for root locus. As well as far as comment is concerned, so we can say root locus is stable, completely stable, because it is completely in left hand side of S plane. This is a imaginary axis and root locus is lying in fully in left hand side, so root locus is completely stable. Okay, is completely stable. That's it, that is sufficient. Okay, so we'll stop here. More numericals we will discuss in a next numerical. Thank you.